Iran is closer than ever to having nuclear weapons. Can Trump stop them? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Tensions in the Middle East are rising. I just realized I could have said that at any point over the last 2 millennia, and it would still be accurate. This time, I'm talking about Iran accelerating production of near-weapons-grade uranium. The International Atomic Energy Agency says Iran had about 275 kilograms of uranium that had been enriched to a purity of 60%. That's still below the 90% requirement for nuclear weapons, but way beyond the 2015 Iran nuclear deal's limit of 3.67%. Not that the Iran nuclear deal ever stopped them. That's why Trump withdrew the U.S. from it in 2018 after calling it the worst deal in history. But this is enough to theoretically make about half a dozen weapons should Iran further enrich the uranium. So, what can the U.S. do to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear threat? Well, earlier last weekend, Iran and the U.S. held high-level talks in Oman. Ah, yes, the proud U.S. tradition of holding talks with authoritarian regimes that go nowhere. But the White House said it was positive and constructive. Even Iranian state-run media said the talks were held in a constructive atmosphere based on mutual respect. And now, Tehran is even saying they welcome U.S. investment. It's a $1 trillion opportunity. Yes, invest in Iran. What could go wrong? However, this is still an improvement in relations compared to back when Iran was talking about assassinating Trump with a drone the next time he goes golfing. So, are we going to war with Iran? Are we best buds now? What's going on? Well, Trump has made it very clear he does not want a nuclear Iran.
But I want Iran to be a wonderful, great, happy country. But they can't have a nuclear weapon.
So, Trump wants to make a deal. I know, can you imagine? And being the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the world gives you some pretty good leverage because Trump is threatening to attack Iran if there's no deal. Basically, he's saying, you want nukes so bad, I'll give you all the nukes you can handle. And to add insult to injury, he also said Israel would lead the strike. I don't know if you know this, but Iran is not a fan of Israel.
That all options are on the table, and Iran has a choice to make. You can agree to President Trump's demand, or there will be all hell to pay.
And in order to back up these threats, the U.S. has moved a lot of military assets to the region. This is on top of all the other assets the U.S. already has in the Middle East, though a fair bit of U.S. military assets in the Middle East are in the hands of the Taliban. Thank you very much, Joe Biden. But ironically, it's actually the Iran nuclear deal that may be key to Trump's plan. Both the U.S. and Iran have decided to ignore the deal, but it still exists on paper. And it wasn't just signed by the U.S. and Iran. It was also signed by the U.K., France, Germany, the EU, Russia, and China. And alongside the Iran deal was a separate UN resolution signed in 2015 called UN Security Council Resolution 2231, which endorsed the Iran deal. In the UN resolution is a snapback provision. It's a mechanism designed to quickly impose previous UN sanctions on Iran if it violates the Iran deal, which, let's be frank, it does. If triggered, it would set an arms embargo, a ban on uranium enrichment and reprocessing, a ban on launches and other activities with ballistic missiles, a global asset freeze and travel ban on Iranian individuals and entities, and authorization for countries to inspect Iranian air and shipping cargoes. In fact, Trump tried starting the snapback process back in 2020, but the other parties didn't recognize it at the time. Not even the UK, France, and Germany sided with the US, mainly because they wanted to keep the Iran deal alive, even though it was more abused than a woman in the custody of Iran's morality police. However, things have changed since then. Iran is closer than ever to acquiring nuclear weapons. The UK, France, and Germany now say they're ready to invoke global snapback sanctions. Though in their case it wasn't really a snapback so much as a nice, long, leisurely jaunt back. There's now a June deadline for Iran to reach a new nuclear deal. And the reason why June is the deadline is because, according to the Iran nuclear deal, the ability to take such actions expires on October 18th this year. Of course, the problem is Russia and China, two countries that have been awfully buddy-buddy with Iran. Well, there may be a chance Trump could actually get them on his side with the Iran issue. It's possible that Trump's negotiations with the Russians over their invasion of Ukraine also involve getting Russia's cooperation on Iran. Is it a coincidence that U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, who just negotiated with the Iranians, also met Putin right before the meeting in Oman? I don't think he was asking for a recipe for borscht. As for Trump's tariff wars with China, could we see Trump using tariffs to get Chinese leaders to agree on snapback sanctions against Iran? This is just speculation, and there's no guarantee that Trump would succeed in getting Russia or China on board. But even without their support, this could be the time. Iran is in a much weakened position now. The economy is crumbling, thanks largely to Trump's recent sanctions. Iran-backed terrorist groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis are getting pummeled. And Iran failed to keep its ally Assad in power in Syria. Iran doesn't even have enough water and power. But you gotta wonder, Iran ignored the last deal they made. How would any new deal be enforced? So what do you think about Trump's negotiations with Iran? Will they succeed, or will war break out? Don't worry, we won't sanction you for posting your opinions. Leave your comments below. And episodes like this require a lot of time and effort. Please support more episodes by subscribing to our new premium website, AmericaUncovered.tv, and you'll also get exclusive content like live streams and more. Just click on this button that's been on the screen. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching America Uncovered.